Well, here we are at it again. Another new release from PaperCut, version 19.2, with a whole bunch of new stuff, of course. Lots to talk about today, so let's get going. What we are talking about is the 19.2 product story. And here are the highlights. Improving on version 19.1 with things like enhanced print deploy features, easier rollouts of larger PaperCut MEAP implementations, and some very cool scanning enhancements. Plus some news about Canon devices and a special announcement regarding mobility print. Pay attention as we'll be giving out an ACDI t-shirt or polo by asking a trivia question at the end of the presentation. Here's a roadmap to this version. I'd like to point out the orange section. That's the percolator. And it's growing with new things. We always talk a lot about coffee with PaperCut, so that's where things are tried out, in the percolator, and then they move into the official release when the brew is just right. Take note of device scripting, interactive scan to email destinations, and multi-domain UPN username support, all brewing quite nicely as we speak, and we'll soon be able to drink these in. When talking about selling PaperCut, then we find features like more OS support with print deploy and bulk MFP deployments, easy things to talk about and present to your customer. Enhancing Ricoh's MFDs will make their devices easier to use. As to what's happening with printing, we'll talk about some new single function licenses as well as cloud updates with scanning. Ready to check it out? Starting with print deploy enhancements with more control and more OS support. We're also finding out that over 1,000 installations are already using print deploy, one of the most used features of PaperCut already. As you know, print deploy simplifies the complexity of print queue deployment and comes as part of PaperCut MF and NG. As you may recall, print deploy started off by supporting Windows and Mac. Now managed Chromebooks are in the mix, with Linux coming soon. You're now able to use the powerful PaperCut print deploy features with managed Chromebooks. There's also the ability to use group printer driver and queue management. Of course, easy to set up and use, and print deploy now has multi-language support too. Significant time saving through easy deployment of the right print drivers and queues to the right people in the right locations. Lots of value packed into this portion as we look at the WIFM, the what's in it for me. Customers will save time and money with an all-in-one solution that takes care of everything. A feature like this can also help increase customer longevity. Actively reach out to your current customers so they know about this, and of course they will be indebted to you. Now adding user group filtering so you have more control as to who gets the print drivers loaded automatically on their system. You may have seen the capability previously, however it's been grayed out. Now it's available, and that is group filtering with print deploy. What will happen here is if the user's IP address and the groups match, then a print driver will automatically be installed on their system. Again, users don't have to do anything. It just happens. The group filtering provides a lot more flexibility with the print deploy feature now. Here's a screenshot of what it looks like in the admin console. Again, you may have seen it, and now you can actually use it. This will work for any groups, by the way, so if you happen to be using internal groups like I do instead of Active Directory Sync, then this is also available for use. The groups displayed in the Print Deploy tool are the same groups that you have activated in PaperCut. Remember, you need to actually add or delete a group for it to appear. That way you don't have a long list of every AD group in the system like IIS users, admin groups, and other miscellaneous groups that are really not associated with users in PaperCut but are more administrative in nature. Here's the workflow in a nutshell. The Print Deploy client calls into the PaperCut server where Print Deploy is housed and supplies the username. Once the server figures out who the user is, then it will grab the groups for that user from PaperCut. If the IP address and the group match, then Print Deploy will connect to the zone and the driver will be automatically rolled out. For those that like command line administration, please note that there are server commands that you can use for group management. Many items are accomplished with server commands. They're all listed in the knowledge base. Print Deploy is now available to be used with Chromebooks, rounding out a full complement of Chromebook support, making it even better than it already is. And you know, PaperCut's Chromebook integration caught the attention of Google, right? Where now PaperCut is a Google for Education Premier Partner. This is the old versus new look of the Print Deploy page in PaperCut, and you'll see the new Chrome OS button at the bottom next to the Windows and Mac clients. In the Print Queue section, Chromebook print drivers will also be designated with a Chrome logo for easy identification. New search capabilities are also included on this page. Check out the magnifying glass at the top of the screenshot. Some important considerations about Chromebook support. If you are on version 19.1, you will see the Chromebook download. However, it doesn't work unless you've upgraded to version 19.2. And you know those upgrades take all of 15 minutes or so, so it's worth it to do the upgrade. Plus, you have to get the button to work. The supported queue will be a mobility print queue since there are no installers for server or direct queues with a Chromebook. I mentioned this earlier, and it is important. Chromebook support at this time is for managed Chromebooks only, not BYOD. Speaking of Chromebook support, have you heard the latest news? I'll throw this in here so you are aware. Mobility print is now a standalone free option. You may have heard about the fact that Google Cloud Print has come out of beta finally, and as a matter of fact, will actually be discontinued by Google at the end of next year, at the end of 2020. So many school administrators will be looking for a comparable replacement, especially at the same price. And PaperCut has it. Google Cloud Print was free, and so is Mobility Print now. So keep that in mind when talking to your prospects, especially in the educational vertical, as they'll be wanting to migrate to an easy-to-use system like Mobility Print. And I'll say it once again, this is an entirely free option, no hidden fees. Just head over to papercut.com, download, and enjoy. Here's that deployment word again. This time, though, we're talking about devices and bulk deploying devices on larger installations with PaperCut. Many have reached out to us for assistance when they have a whole bunch of MFDs to integrate, and we get it. It can take time to touch each device and get it set up. So now there's a simple way to remotely deploy and configure embedded software with many OEMs. You'll find a nice README file. It's in the app path. It's under Server, Deployment, Batch, and it contains the structure of a CSV file that you can use to upload devices. Kyocera can also upload certificates on the devices remotely now as well, so that really helps you as you'll not have to touch each one during installation. Some of the OEMs can even do site server deployment in bulk. This can certainly speed things up on the larger rollouts that you have, so we're excited to let you know about this one too. Bulk deployment started with version 19.1 on Ricoh, Sharp, and Kyocera devices. Now we're adding both Xerox and Fuji Xerox devices, as well as Konica Minolta, Toshiba, HP, Dell, and Sindo. Yeah, we can shout this out. Installing PaperCut embedded software for large fleets can now be done in less than half the time. It's always been quick anyway, but now less than half the time. How cool is that? And on the WIFM side, you'll find that you can reduce the downtime for the customer on new or upgraded installs, making it a lot easier for you or our partner to install PaperCut. Reducing the need for resellers to be on site to do installations, as well as reducing human error during configuration, too. Lots to talk about with document processing and OCR scanning enhancements with version 19.2 of PaperCut. As per your request, batch splitting is now included, as well as some scan cleanup features. Batch splitting on scans can be done by a page count or on a blank page, and we can remove that blank page as well. Global buttons are also available to deskew and despeckle documents with one click. And if you're using the locally hosted version of OCR, then you can expand it to multi-servers for load balancing, since OCR is very processor intensive. This is how you turn on blank page removal and batch splitting. It's under each scan action, and just a couple of clicks will do it. Deskew and despeckle are global settings. They are available on the capture page. That's under options. Now, this is the same area where you determine whether or not you're using the PaperCut cloud service or a self-hosted OCR service. A simple click on the checkbox enables deskew or despeckle, and the OCR language support selections are below. Best practice is to keep the language selections to 4 or less. You can enable more, however, processing time will definitely be increased, and now you can determine then whether you need quantity or quality. Benefits here include, of course, enhancing the convenience scan capability of PaperCut to include commonly needed features that the end user can activate quickly and easily on the control panel, and provides extra value for your customers as there's no charge for this add-on. End users only need to make sure their maintenance and support are up to date. Interactive scan destinations is in the percolator currently. We'll talk more about percolator items in just a bit, but wanted to address this while we're talking about scanning. Percolator items are features that are in open beta, so your customer can try out something new before it gets infused into PaperCut. What we mean is the ability to add an email destination on the fly, and you can limit the destinations to a specific suffix too, so scans can be sent only to the domains that you authorize. On each scan action, up to 2 custom fields can be configured. This may be the default subject and file name, or you can substitute with a different field and even capture info from the device to be reused in a scan action. By using the mustache templates index, you can inject dynamic properties like current date, scan action, or user details, including fax. We'll get excited about fax here for a bit because in the past, you could set a destination for a fax number, however they were static, and if you wanted to fax to another number, then you needed to ask the PaperCut administrator to set up a new scan action. Well, now with interactive destinations, you can allow the input of a fax number in a fax-to-email gateway, and PaperCut will understand and send the correct fax server for output. Couple of new things to discuss with Rico. Something new for Xerox, too. I'll start with Rico, as some OEMs do already have this feature, now included on Rico devices, to allow you to continue scanning, either with the current document or starting a new one without having to re-enter scan settings. This brings in line with others so that customers can enjoy increased productivity, drastically reducing scan time for end users, making workflows more streamlined. Speaking of Rico, and let's add Xerox, there's a new license to support select single-function printers, providing Find Me and secure release functionality. This new license is more economical than a full device license, since scanning is not an option for these. While you can still use a full MFD license, you'll find it to be more cost-effective to use the SFP version. You cannot use an SFP license on a multifunction device. Version 19.1 allowed the use of the Jasper suite with the ability to create custom reports in PDF. But perhaps you would like to export that data for reuse in other applications. Now you can. You may recall that there was a limit of 3 customized reports that you could show in the PaperCut dashboard. That restriction is now gone. You can have an unlimited amount available on the main console now. Plus, there's the ability to create a CSV output of the data, so you can now input into systems like Tableau and Power BI quickly and easily. Now, you do need to run PaperCut with an RDBMS, since the connection limit in Derby databases are limited to 1, and you would not want to do this on a production system. That's just not a good thing to do. You want to run this on an external database, and of course, PaperCut can be run on the most popular databases, so you have a lot of flexibility. Here's an example of the report layout and the elements that can be customized using the Jasper suite and preparing for CSV output. You may not want the field containing those words printing logs example to show up on your export. Well, there's a really nice wiki that's available on how to hide fields for clean exports into Excel or other programs. A new Canon MEAP application has been created. Actually, it was released with version 19.1.3, but since we didn't have a webinar in that particular release, I'll include it here. Canon integration came out in 2013 with their Gen 2 lineup. And now with the latest family of Canon copiers called Gen 3, there's a new MEAP application that uses a web-based user interface. With that interface, PaperCut is now able to provide the feature set of many other OEMs. Many of these second-generation Canons can also be upgraded via firmware, so please check with your Canon dealer to see if this is possible. Then you can take advantage of the new workflows. Well, here it's stated a new coat of paint. There's a lot under the hood, starting with a more standardized PaperCut login screen, a lot cleaner look that will match others in a mixed fleet. The account selection screen is a lot cleaner, making it more intuitive for the end user to select or search for what they need. Also includes haptic feedback to the user. And a cool updated confirmation screen, optional of course. However, for those companies that use balances, this really provides a more updated look and feel to the application. The earlier Gen 2 interface was very well laid out, but the new screen is much easier to read and use. Plus, it provides more functionality than previous iterations, including print selection for release. Finally, the new screen allows for chips and CAMP. Keeping up with all the latest PaperCut acronyms, I hope. CHIPS is Change Print Settings, and CAMP is Choose Account at MFD for Printing. So take note of those, as they do appear in other documentation, and acronyms are always fun. Back to more percolator stuff. Now on many manufacturers, you have the ability to create scripts for use on the multifunction device. Device scripting now includes copy blocking in the percolator. Why do we need copy blocking? Of course, PaperCut is print management, and we can do a lot of things with print drivers with scripting. Copiers, on the other hand, all have different code and perform the same function in different ways depending on the OEM. Device scripting allows us to approach the copier portion of the MFD like a printer and script the things that someone is able to do or not do, like putting copy limits on a device or blocking a specific user from copying. Now, we've had filters previously to block color access, but now you can block the entire access with version 19.2, plus create other types of rules and actions on the device. As you can see, this is JavaScript, looks just like print scripting. Again, percolator stuff, so it's just out there for you to try. And if you run into a bug on something, just let us know so we can get it figured out. That's another reason I really like PaperCut, because it allows end users to do creative things, customizing the software and how it needs to work in their specific environment. You may find some of the hooks are not available on all platforms, and currently device scripting is not available on Ricoh or Canon devices. An update is scheduled for version 20, and believe it or not, that's coming out real soon. Another item in the percolator, multi-domain UPN username support. PaperCut has had multi-domain support for some time, and now we can use the user's UPN for authentication. Here's the problem. a company has two different domains. Maybe they just acquired a new company, for instance. We find a user with the same name in both domains. And PaperCut is not sure which one is which as we're looking at the SAM account name field in Active Directory, and the username is the same in both domains. So now we get a username clash. In the Percolator now, the ability to sync UPN as a primary name, UPN, user principal name, looks like an email address. So it's a username with an @ symbol and then the domain name. This way, the user gets uniquely identified when the domain name is appended, and a user is able to log in anywhere with their UPN. No need for anything different on the print drivers, as this user will be associated with the correct print jobs from here on out. This is only available in an Active Directory scenario, and you'll also want to engage ACDI, as there's a good possibility that you could lose data when merging domains. Plus, there's just some other things to be mindful of that are not within the scope of this webinar. There we have it. Version 19.2, chocked full of the quality you expect from PaperCut. Here's the main takeaways for you. Building on the success of version 19.1 by enhancing print deploy, making large rollouts easier with bulk installations of MFDs, and adding some cool document processing enhancements, plus a lot of stuff to play with too. How cool is that? So when do we get it? Channel customers can download and look at the software right now, but please don't install it at a customer site just yet. You're not going to have to wait long. General availability is coming up. It's slated for December 5th, right after the Thanksgiving holiday, believe it or not, just a couple of days away. So thanks for joining me today. I hope you're excited to work with the new features. They're pretty cool. And don't forget to check out ACDI's new podcast series, What's the Solution? It's available on Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple, and Google too, hosted by yours truly. Stick around for Q&A and a trivia contest. I'm the doctor for ACDI.